Welcome to Transcendent. I'm Joe, and I'm the dad.
And I'm Raya, and I'm the daughter.
Hey, the other day I went over to the indoor pool.
Yeah?
As soon as I got there, I thought, man, I gotta pee so bad. Well,
Oh, no.
I guess I'll go in the deep end.
Oh, no.
I mean, who would know? The lifeguard blew his whistle so loud, I almost fell in.
Oh, that's really bad. I'm so sorry, Steph.
So let's start, Steph, with, I don't know exactly how to pronounce your last name.
Vachon.
Vachon.
Yeah, perfect.
Steph Vachon.
Yeah. Oh, I like your accent. It's cute.
Would you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm from Montreal, Canada. I'm going to be 57 years old soon. I consider myself queer, gay. I'm a husband. I'm a father now. It's going to be 6 years actually that we welcomed our son into our lives,
Congratulations.
which is the best part of my whole journey, I would say.
Yeah.
And because having our son is like teaching me so much about being a better human being for myself first. If I want to give my child the security and the love and everything he needs, well, I had to learn to give it to myself, you know? So, and I have been a figure skater most of my life, started again, because being young, where I was from was really hard to be a figure skater, you know, because boys play hockey.
Yeah.
So that was really tough on me, and I had lots of bullying and abuse about it. So let's say that I struggled most of my life being, you know, a professional figure skater, even then, because I was carrying so much shame about it, because I thought was the reason why I got bullied so much being young. Let's just say that I'm back on the ice now after 15 years of not doing anything on the ice. I'm back training and competing as an adult. And it's just like reclaiming my identity. It's just being back into who little Steph was, with pride and so much fun. Yes, it's hard because I'm much older. You know, I have to learn to cope with my body the way it is now, but I'm having a fabulous time and a great time just being back on the ice and being a dad. Let's say that it's like I'm being in a really great part of my life where I'm finally proud of who I am and what I'm doing, and loving who I am too, which I never thought I could even say those words, even like, I don't know, 10 years ago.
Uh-huh.
Would you tell us a little bit about your coming out story?
When I came out, I was 18, and I thought that would be it. I would feel perfectly happy. But the pink cloud didn't last for long. It only lasted for summer, I would say, because all the guilt and the shame that I was carrying from being called a faggot, a homo every day, being teased, being bullied, being abused about it every day. I mean, it was just not once in a while. It was every day, everywhere I was.
Wow.
There was not one place that I felt safe. So even coming out, I always, like when I express it, I always say it was like I was walking with a big garbage bag on my shoulders, like really, really heavy. And the more I went into, you know, advancing in life, the heavier the bag was getting, because I didn't have the tools of, what do I do with all this baggage of feeling, you know, ashamed and feeling like gross and hating myself? Because that's what happened, is that I learned to hate myself. So I went on with life, and yes, I was performing. I was doing great things looking back on it today, but I was not living. I was not living them. I was surviving. And the more I got older, well, the bag just got heavier, and I got to a point where The anxiety was so hard, was so bad in everything I would do, and I became the best actor, pretending to be somebody else. With depends with who I was, what I would say, how I would act, the way I walked, the way I was standing up, the way I was speaking, my voice, everything became an act. So I just became like a ghost, basically, not being at all who I was. And then in my early 30s, well, the anxiety was so bad that I could not get out of the house anymore. I could not work. I could not do nothing. I didn't know who I was anymore. So that's when I really had to take care of myself and decide, okay, I don't have the tools. I don't know what to do. I'm at a breaking point where do I keep living or I go?
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is when I hit rock bottom, that I started doing something. And that's when I decided to go to a doctor, that I decided to start therapy, and I started writing everything down. I wrote everything that was going on in my head from my childhood to that day. And I wanted to understand, why was I feeling like this? Because even if, I came out, then why was I feeling still like so ashamed and so unhappy and so alone? So it was a long process. It started getting better right away because I was lucky to find an incredible therapist. And then when I do something, I don't do it 100%. I do it 5,000%. So I was like, okay, now I want to live. I chose life. I want to be happy. I deserve to be happy. What do I have to do? So I had to go back to who little Steph was. Who was I when I was really young, before all that started? Who did I want to be when I was a kid?
I think a lot of people would hear your story, especially if they're in the closet right now and have been waiting to come out, and they would think, well, if only I had come out when I was 18. But you're saying that, as you called it, the pink cloud, that only lasted a little bit. Why was coming out that first time not sufficient?
Yeah, to me, the words that were given to me, the physical threats, the constant anxiety had been so strong every day for so many years, that it was like in my body, it was in my heart, it was in my head. Like there was nothing that I could do on my own to try to make this better. Like I didn't have the tools. I didn't know how to deal with that. And I believed that's what happened. That is, that I had to forgive myself, because for the longest time I thought I was weak. I thought that, why didn't I, respond when that happened? Why didn't I punch those boys? Why didn't I, defend myself better? But I had to realize that I was totally alone. I was totally alone. There was not one person that helped me when I was a kid. When that happened, like I tried to talk to people about it, but nobody heard me. Nobody listened to me. So I was alone. I was a child going, through all that alone. So I had to accept that, forgive myself that, no, I wasn't weak. Actually, today I look at it as I must have been one of the strongest person I've ever met, to be able to go through that alone and come out of it. So I had to accept that it wasn't my fault.
Right.
It was not because I was weak. It's the opposite. I was a strong boy. And I mean, I'm a strong person, but it wasn't my fault. The words that were said to me, the insults, the put down, the threats, it wasn't my fault. It had nothing to do with who I am. Who I am, I'm a beautiful person that loves to create, that loves to figure skate, that is, I have compassion for other people. I say thank you. I say please. I love to help. It's like I'm all those things. I'm not what they were telling me. So I had to really accept that that did not belong to me. It wasn't me. And no, I was a strong boy to go through all of this alone, and I came out of it.
You mentioned that you went through when you started to do some self-healing, that you did some journaling, you were writing things down. Can you give us one or two of the practical things that you did that somebody else might be able to take and implement in their own life?
Well, I wanted to understand, so I wrote everything first, that the things that were done to me, but also the choices that I made and why. Because when you think so, you have such a low self-esteem, you make the choices with how you think you are, first of all, and to please other people. So I realized that I was, also trying to please and fit. So I wrote, what did I want to be and who I became until that point. That didn't fit. That did not fit at all. Who little Steph was, his dreams, who he wanted to be, who he was, and what I was at in my early 30s did not fit. And the choices that I made, that didn't fit. And that's why the anxiety became so bad. And I was not living my life. I was living somebody else's life. This is when I started my therapy with a therapist. And the first thing I told him, my first session was, I went into to visit my therapist, and I threw this big pile of paper on his desk. That's the first thing I did. And I said, please read this. And if you can save me after this, tell me, because you're my last hope, because I don't know what to do with that. This is my life. I'm at the point where I keep going or I'm gone. So you tell me next week, I come back, and you tell me if you can save me. And he made me promise to come back the following week. And that's the first time that somebody heard me and listened to me. And he said, sit down. Things are going to get a lot better. I'm going to help you. That's the day I chose life. And then I had lots of homework. Every week I had books to read, exercises to do. And one time, because that point I had given up on my passion, figure skating, everything. I was not skating anymore. I was not coaching anymore. I was not even watching it on TV anymore. I threw all my medals, my trophies, my costumes, everything was in the garbage except my skates. That's the only thing that I kept. And they were in the closet. I remember exactly where they're in the closet. And they were, piled up with the other stuff. And one day he said, because I kept telling him that I was having many dreams that I would be skating. And then, so one day after one session, he said, okay, now Steph, your homework this week is you're going to put your skates on and you're going to step on the ice.
I love it.
Yeah, but my reaction was like, nope, never doing that ever again.
Wow.
Because I still felt that was the reason why I was so bullied and abused. The first reason was because I was figure skater. And then so he looked at me and I was like, nope, that I will never do. And he said, Steph, you made me a promise. You made me the promise that you would do everything I would tell you to do. And if you can't keep your promise, well, you can't come back here. And I was like, I was so mad. I was so mad that day. And I did not believe him. I was like, I can't believe I'm going to have to do this. And oh my God, he was so right. So took my skates. And the second I stepped on the ice, I felt goosebumps everywhere. And I had this vision of, okay, I have to be back.
Let's take a break here for a moment. But when we come back, Steph is going to tell us what happened when his therapist gave him the one assignment he swore he could never do.
I'm Chuck Reynolds, and I started listening to Transcendent because Joe is my friend. I keep listening because I have friends, colleagues, and family members who are part of the LGBTQ community, and I want to better understand their struggles and perspectives. I have become a supporter because I believe Joe and Raya are truly helping to preserve relationships and save lives. Join me in supporting Transcendent. Just go to transcendent.com, click on support, and select the amount you'd like to give each month. It can be as little as $3, and you can cancel at any time.
Would you talk a little bit about your figure skating in general and your relationship with your figure skating?
Well, first, when I was really young, figure skating was really easy for me. I was really talented. And right away, I started winning championships, and I was really strong, and it was so easy for me. But of course, by being on the newspaper and winning medals, well, right away the bullying started. So as I grew older, anxiety became really, really strong. So I would lose all my abilities in competitions and weeks before competitions that I did not understand why. And a physical thing that happened is that I would lose the feeling of my legs during competition. So I would lose all my abilities and I would trip, fall. So after competition, then, depression and not understanding why I could not perform anymore. So I quit really young. I quit at 17, my competitive figure skating career. And even with all of that, I made it to nationals here in Canada. So that's like how strong I was. Even then, I mean, I remember one competition where I think I fell like 6 or 7 times. And even my dad made a joke like, my God, you were tripping over the blue line. He was trying to make a funny joke out of it, but I was like so devastated. Like, yeah, but you don't understand. I step on the ice, I don't feel my legs anymore. It's horrible. So even that, I lost, of course, all the confidence in myself. And then maybe you will remember that, but the Ice Capades came in town. I don't know if you remember that professional ice show. They were touring in the States and in Canada, in North America.
Sure. I remember going when I was young.
There you go. So at 17 years old, they came in town, and I was like, there's my chance to get out of here. And I auditioned, and of course, they took me right away, and I left touring at 18. I always knew that I did not finish what I had started. When I started my healing process with the therapist, I had quit everything because I was so ashamed of, being a figure skater. So let's say that being back at my age, and I'll tell you a story that is like such the best closure to it is that, 2 years ago, I started training, and I was like, and I went back on the ice because my son asked me to go skating outside. And the same thing happened when I stepped on the ice. I had the goosebumps again. And I was like, oh my God, I have to skate again. Like, I have to do it. Like, now I'm a dad, I'm married, I'm fulfilling all the dreams. But what about competing? Like, I have to do this now before it's too late.
Yeah.
So it was extremely hard. It was so hard to get back. It was hard on my body. It was hard my first event last year, you don't even know, like the whole week, I was stressed out. I was nervous. When it was time to go, I just wanted to leave. It was so hard, but I'm so proud of myself that I went and did the first one. And it got better and better. And a month ago, I had another event, another competition. And for the first time since I was a kid, I completely felt my legs the whole time.
Wow.
It was like I had the best performance I could have ever had. I felt my legs. I lived each second of it. Each moment I was there, I was present, I was proud, I was happy. I felt my legs, I felt strong. It was like the first time since I was a kid that I felt that way. come on, that's the biggest gift I can give myself, you know?
Sure. Would you talk a little bit about your relationship with your husband right now?
Well, my husband is more than a husband. Let's say that we encourage each other, we push each other into our own lives. It's really important that he's the same way. He's achieving goals and dreams that he had when he was a kid that he didn't do. So we're there for each other for that, first of all. Like, we really support each other. We push each other. We encourage each other to live our dreams. That's the first thing. Second thing, for our son and for our family, we need to have a home that is safe, that is loving, that where there's no screaming, there's no fighting for everyone. My home needs to be, with everything I went through, my home needs to be the most secure, loving place. When I come back here, it needs to be peaceful, calm, with love. And I want this for my son. I want this for my husband. I want this for us. This is the basic. When we go out to the world, and with everything that is going on right now, and with what our son had to go through, we need to have this environment. So it's a fabulous time. And let's say that my life is really full. I make sure that I don't waste time anymore on anything. And I make sure that every day is a fulfilled day where I'm happy doing what I'm doing. I'm trying to be the best person that I can be for my son, for my family, and for myself.
So you mentioned your family. You mentioned your, was it 6-year-old?
No, it's going to be 6 years that we welcomed him. He's 9.5 now. So he was 3.5 years old when he came with us, and we adopted him together. We started, the way it worked here, well, we had lots of choices with the adoption and having a child in with us, but we wanted to help a child that was in need. So we started as a foster family. But knowing that, the goal was to adopt. That's how it works here in our province of Quebec. And it took a 1.5 years of going to social services, going with him to visit his biological parents still. And it was a really, really challenging, time. But we decided at that time that we were going to live the present moment, really, and try to... Our job was to give him the security and the love. So we put our ego on the side, and our job was to try to make this little boy as happy and as secure as possible every day. He is, first, I think for him, he needs to feel that it's more than okay to be a family with 2 dads. There's people that ask, it's funny, like when I go pick him up, I would go pick him up at school, and then it would be one of the teacher would say, "Are you the dad?" I'm like, "Yeah." And then they said, "Well, somebody else came yesterday." "Yeah, that's his other dad." And then they would, you would see in their face a little confusion, but then, okay, and it's all good. We made sure too, we told the school and everybody in advance, he has 2 dads, and that's how it is. And it's now we've had nothing but, like, felt welcome everywhere, and he's never had anything yet. So I mean, it's really, really great that way, that he feels welcome, and we all feel welcome, and it's been perfect right now. So far, it's been really great for him at school, for us too. So,
what is one thing you'd like to tell our audience that we have not asked you yet?
Oh, yes. Stop listening to the noises around. Stop listening to what's going on. It's not true. You are perfect the way you are. And for that, you have to find your community. You have to listen to podcasts like we do, like me and you guys do. Know that you are perfect the way you are, because it's so easy to go on social media, listen to the news, and having people telling you that you're wrong to be who you are. No, you're perfectly the way you are. And know that you're so much stronger than you think you are. Like I talked earlier, I thought that I was weak. And no, we learned through that. We're so resilient and we're creative. We're extremely creative and we are so resilient. And that's why I think they're scared of us. So it's a plus. I mean, we are special. You're special. And you have to believe in that. You have to believe in that and stop listening to the noise.
I love that. That is a wonderful message. But one noise we hope you won't stop listening to is this podcast.
I hope we're not noise. Our podcast. And then also, you have a podcast called Together Moving Forward, LGBTQ Identity and Pride. Tell us about your podcast.
It's about my journey and other people's journey. You know, I want to have guests that talk about their story, how it was and what they became and who they are today. And it's all about finally learn to love yourself with pride, to accept who you are, be proud of who you are. I mean, I know I went through the journey of hating myself to feeling unworthy of living, to love myself, to love who I am, to be proud of who I am, to have the life that I deserve, like all of us deserve. So that's what it's all about. It's about healing together, learning together, helping each other, be there for each other.
Check out Together Moving Forward podcast, whichever platform you're listening to this on right now. Just search up Together Moving Forward and check it out there. And you can come and hear us every single Monday morning where we are here as your voice of positivity. So, Steph, thank you so much for joining us. Your story has been very inspiring and very wonderful. We're very grateful to have you here.
Well, thank you so much to both of you. It was great being with you today.
And with that,
we'll see you Monday.
We have a tradition on this podcast that if you would like to tell a dad joke, we would love to have you share your best dad joke.
My jokes are all in French. Let me think. Oh my God. Because I always make stupid jokes with the kids when I teach, but no, it wouldn't work.
I understand the problem with the language. I speak Japanese and I know how it is. Boku no tomodachi wa omoshiroi kata arimashita. Sori kara ne boku wa